Hi everyone. Just want to say quickly before the beginning of this video, um, as usual, I'm going to be talking about the Book of Yumina this week, and I always do these videos on a Sunday. I am recording this Sunday, but I may not be able to upload this until Monday. Now, the reason why is because I'm uploading currently the last video I did with my sister while she was, here over this weekend, and it's taking forever for YouTube to upload. It's probably not going to be ready to publish until sort of this evening. So depending on how late it is, I will try to upload this review video. If it's really ridiculous, it's going to take ages to be able to get this review uploaded, then instead I'll just kill it and I'll do it tomorrow. So FYI, this is being filmed on Sunday, but if I don't upload it till Monday, that's the reason why. Okay, so now it's time to talk about the book I've been reading this week, which is Catching Fire, the second Hunger Games novel written by Suzanne Collins. This takes place not exactly straight after the end of the first book, but there's a little gap in between, not very long. Katniss has returned home to her district following being in the Hunger Games. Peter's with her. They both survived the Hunger Games, and now is the start of it's the following year. Sometime has passed, and they're about to announce basically who's the special. What's special about the next Hunger Games? It's usually I think it's the summer before it starts, because what it is that the Hunger Games that starts in this book is the 75th Hunger Games, and every 25 years they do what's known as the Quarter Quell. Now, in the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes go into the arena. So instead of 24, you got 48. But this one is different because of what happened at the end of the previous games. I won't reveal what it is, but just to sort of summarise, there was an incident with some berries. I will not go any further detail than that if you don't want to be spoiled, which triggered quite a few events happening throughout the whole of Panem, and especially stirred President Snow, who is, the head of the capital. He got very, very angry with Katniss for what she did. And because of that, he has decided that for this Quarter Quell, instead of picking tributes as normal, the tributes will be picked from those who have won previous Hunger Games. Now, obviously, they do one girl and one boy from each district, and Katniss is the only girl who has won for her district. So she automatically is going back into the Hunger Games. And it's what is really interesting about this book is that this book, right, is 470 pages long. They don't get to the arena, actually in the arena, until page 320. So as you can guess, the arena, even though what happens in the arena is really quite important, it's the build-up that is the key, and it's all about politics and such as well. And there have been a series of uprisings that have been going on in various districts because Peter and Katniss won their games in the previous year. They have to do what's known as the Victory Tour, where they visit every single district, and it ends at the capital, which is where there's a big party and such, and that's where the picking of the names and everything happens. Even they kind of go back to 12, and it's a bit weird, but it's this parade of going through to each of the districts, and each time they're noticing more and more things happening and such, and at the beginning, she gets visited by President Snow in her house, who basically says, look, make me believe that you're in love with Peter and we'll see what happens. And he doesn't believe her at all. It's this power play of who is really in control in this scene. Is it her or is it him? And the fact that the things that he does, where he, destroying parts of her district, having Gale whipped within an inch of his life, getting a friend of hers, and cutting out their tongue and making them her servants when she reaches the capital, to prove the point that he watches and he knows everything about her. She is not alone, and as Hamish says, you do realise everybody in the capital believe that you're in love with Peter. You do realise that every single year, because you survived your Hunger Games, you have to train each of the tributes for all the following years. So every year you two are going to have to come together, every year be paraded in front of cameras, every year have to relive what happened to you. So you do realise that you're going to have to end up marrying each other and such. And it really screws up with Katniss's head. And she's also, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, just as Peter is as well. There's a fantastic sequence where she's having, well, there's a few actually in this book, where she's having these horrendous nightmares, and what she's seeing is so gory and such, and it's just playing back to what she saw the previous year. Peter also is really getting into painting, and his paintings of things that they saw in the games the previous year are absolutely extraordinary. It's a thing, you will always be scarred by these games. Hamish still is. He's an alcoholic. Loads of the tributes are deeply scarred by what they've done, and now they've all got to go back into the arena and try to survive. It is unfathomable what they have to do, and it's no wonder, obviously, it takes its time before you get into the arena, because you need to understand all of these new characters and understand the politics of the situation, and if Katniss makes one wrong move, what is the repercussions of that? And her trying to second guess everybody and everything that's going on, second guess even Peter, what he's thinking, why is he saying what he's saying, why is he doing what he's doing. It's a really really interesting psychological book, this one, more psychological than the previous, because of the mind games of President Snow. President Snow, as I said in my 100th video, when I was talking to my sister, she was asking me various questions, and President Snow is like one of my favourite villains. He is very calculated, he's very smart, he presents himself in a very intriguing way. He's well spoken, he keeps quiet, he doesn't raise his voice, he takes everything in, but he does the most horrific things imaginable, and really does whatever he can to destroy Katniss in particular. And it's a thing when Katniss sees him in her house, in her library, the first thing that is said in the book is the smell that hits her, because he always has a white rose in his lapel thing, and the flowers in the capital are very they've been changed, they've been elaborated, so the smell is really pungent, and all she can smell are white roses and blood, and she doesn't know where the blood has come from. That gets more revealed in the third book as to what that is. But can you imagine meeting this man who has absolutely the capability to destroy your life, to control every single aspect of your life, and you have to sit there and smile and try and please him, and all you can smell is this powerful smell of flowers and blood. It's, oh god, it's excruciating to even think of that. There are some really messed up things that Snow does to Katniss in this book. The really messed up bit that I think is, well, when I first read it, I was in complete shock by it. And it's one of the things that happens in the arena. There's multiple, obviously, threats all over the place that happen. But in this one, she hears her sister screaming, and obviously she thinks, oh my god, my sister, runs into the forest, and turns out it's a Jabberjay, which is birds that the capital have made, which they can imitate any sound, and they used to pass messages and such. and there are hundreds and hundreds of them. And at first it's just one, and she shoots it down, and she realises, oh, it's you know, Jabberjay. And Finnick, who I'll talk about in a minute, comes along, and then he hears screams from his fiancée Annie, well, the woman he loves, Annie. Don't think they're engaged at that point. I'm not too sure. Yeah, her screaming, and then there's hundreds and hundreds, and all swirling round, and she hears not only her sister Prim, she hears her mother, Gail, all of Gail's family, all of these people, her friends, Madge, everyone just screaming and screaming and screaming and begging for their lives, and there's a force field so they can't get out. And everyone, Peter and everyone, is on the other side of this force field, and they can't get through, and they have to endure it for about an hour of this, hearing all of their loved ones screaming blue murder, begging for them to save their lives, and of course there's nothing they can do. It's like, oh, you sicko, for doing that. I mean, obviously the game designer has Plutarch has something to do with that as well, but you can imagine, because of conversations that he's had to have with Snow in order to get approval for the designs and such, that it's possibly Snow came up with it. And yeah, that's just sickening. Now, there are three characters also that I really want to talk about at the moment. So, number one, Plutarch. Plutarch Heavensbee is the game maker for the arena in this book. He met Katniss at the party at the end of the tour, the Victor's tour, met Katniss there. They had a dance, and he's a very interesting man. I think you can tell that he cares very much about the games. That there's always that thing with the way in which he talks, the way in which he says things, his sentences. Like he says, he's very, I think he's very precise and particular about what he says and what it could be interpreted as. Is there another meaning to that kind of thing? But he's a very intriguing character. We don't really get to know him much in this, because obviously he's the game maker. We meet him, then you have, you know, the games and such, and then, you know, you go away, and well, they're in the arena, and then appearing again later on. So you don't get to know him much, but you do get to know him a bit further in the third book. But he's a very intriguing character. He's played fantastically by the late, absolutely great Philip Seymour Hoffman in the films. Yeah, he was an extraordinary actor. He did an amazing job. He just got that character so perfect. But yeah, he will be very, very, very greatly missed with Philip. Okay, second character I want to talk about is the amazing Joanna. I love Joanna. Joanna is from, should I say, not was from, District 7. She's very bold. First time we meet her properly is the same in the film, where she goes into the lift with Peter, Katniss, and Hamish. They've just done, you know, the big parade at the beginning of the games and everything, and she's criticizing her dressmaker and, you know, designer and everything, and is really angry at the design and everything, and she strips off butt naked in front of them, and then just starts casually talking to them. Now, in this scene in the film, she doesn't start casually talking to them. She just stands there completely naked, and then when the door is open, she goes, "Oh, nice seeing you," and walks away. And it's like, that just epitomizes who Joanna is. She doesn't care about anything. She's very bold. She'll speak her mind. She'll stand there and she'll swear her head off and, you know, get really angry at the Capitol, but there's nothing that the Capitol can do about it. She's able to get away, whereas Katniss can't. Now, the reason why is because she doesn't have any loved ones. They've all been destroyed by Snow and such before, so she has no one. So she can do whatever the heck she likes, and it doesn't matter. And you need that balance, I think, having that, a character like that in this book. She's extraordinary, and especially in the third book as well, what happens going forward. She's really, I mean, when Katniss first meets her, and even in the arena, she doesn't really want anything to do with Joanna, but she realises why Joanna is the way she is and that she doesn't have anyone and everything. And she really comes to respect Joanna, and the two of them, even though they're quite opposites, they have a common ground and getting it snow. And I love the moment where Katniss is about to go for her interview before they go into the arena, and she's in the wedding dress that Snow wanted her to wear. And Joanna says, "Oh God, a wedding dress! Oh, you're being stupid doing that." And she said, "Oh, Snow's made me wear it. I can't wear anything else. There's nothing I can do." And Joanna just smiles and she says, "Make him pay for it." And it's just brilliant. There's these little seeds of, information that you're getting from so many characters about how they feel about the situation. Thus the politics, the gameplay and everything really gets into your head. But I love Joanna's attitude towards the Capitol, towards everything. And it really helps Katniss in the third book as well. She's a really amazing character. And the other character I want to talk about, who is just extraordinary, I can't imagine this world without him, is Finnick. Finnick won his games when he was 14, and obviously many years before. And he is this man who is stunningly attractive. Everybody just, loves him, and he's always, walking around just like in a pair of shorts or something. He's not afraid to show off how he looks and everything. He's very confident, very bold. Oh dear, sorry, I just dropped a box on the floor. He's very bold, kind of like Joanna, but in a different way, because Joanna will swear her head off and go absolutely mental and, do this, that and the other. Finnick will say his mind and be quite confident and brash, but he knows the limit. He'll pull back. And he's a very intriguing character. I'm going to talk about him more in the third book, because in this second book, when I come to review the third book, because in this second book, he's very much, he introduces himself, and Katniss really doesn't quite like him the first time that he meets. He's offering her sugar cubes and such, and explaining how he gets paid in secrets by people in the Capitol who enjoy his company and stuff like this. But we learn from this book about the love of his life, Annie, Mags, the woman who comes from his district as well with him into the arena, this elderly lady who is pretty much was his mentor, pretty much his only family that he has. And she volunteered as tribute because Annie was picked to go into the arena with Finnick, but she volunteered instead. Mags, and her sacrifice is really tragic for Finnick. We learn more about him, especially in the third book, but he's such a wonderful character. He's very loyal. He understands everything that's going on. He understands things that other, even though you can have, all know the same information, he understands it on a completely different level because of what he's had to endure since going through his games. He has been a toy for the Capitol, and now the toy is sick of it, and he wants his own life. He wants it to all end. So you can understand why he does things like he does, why he says things he does in this book. I'll explore more about his character in the third, when I review the third book, as I said, but he is absolutely extraordinary. So overall, it goes at a bit of a different pace than the first one, because you've got so much information that you've got to take in before they get to the arena, but it's still written in a way that, from the first person perspective, where you can still, you can get through it. It's quite an easy read, but you've got a lot of detail information in there. I got through it, really quite quickly. I pretty much read it in 2 days, because I haven't really been had a chance to read this week. And then yesterday, after my sister left, I just sat and I read, and I was up until like quite late, to the kind of early hours of this morning, reading as much as possible. And then I've just finished it now, the last 100 pages or something. So it wasn't too hard, hard to read and everything, but it's still got good pace. You learn so much more information, and the ending is fantastic. A great way to end this book and going forward into the third one. Now, the film, I see here from the Hunger Games, they did a really good job, I think, of converting the book into the film. Just as with the first one, there are some, slight tweaks that they've made to make it work better for film. They have taken stuff out, which I understand. So even though, again, you've got that happening, I'm totally, utterly happy with the film version of this. I respect also that they've done like really little. I've really noticed this time teeny tiny details that you just take for granted in the course of the film. They have really focused on which is in the book, which is great. I mean, like little things like there's a point where Peter is electrocuted and Finnick goes to him and she thinks that Finnick's going to kill him. And she goes to take an arrow out of the sheath that she has behind her. But Finnick then, lands on Peter and starts doing CPR, and she stops. And it's only a split second moment, but he's really quite significant in that scene. It's something that I really picked up the first time I read it, and rereading it again, how, because it's her thing of not quite, because they've only recently entered the arena, not quite trusting Finnick. The only other time they've talked outside the arena was that initial meet when he's trying to feed her sugar cubes and kind of flirt with her. So she doesn't know this person really well. She doesn't know if he's secretly going to kill them. And so yes, she automatically goes for hours. When she sees he's doing CPR, she stops herself, and they have done that in the film. It's only a split-second thing, but the fact that they've done it is really great. So there's little things like that really brings it close to the book. Is absolutely fantastic. Strongly recommend the Hunger Games films, just as I would the Hunger Games books. So yeah, that's all I can think of to say about the Hunger Games. As I said, I will try and upload this today, but it really depends on YouTube because it's taking absolutely forever to upload my other video. So yeah, I'll definitely upload, obviously, the announcement video of the next book, which is the next Hunger Games book. So they're only like 2 minutes long, those announcement videos, so they're going to be very short. But yeah, if I can't upload this today, then I'll upload it tomorrow, which will be Monday. And I will be back soon with a review of the next book. Alright then, if you've got any comments, if you've read this book, I'd love to know what you think. You can drop a comment in the comments box, or if you want to show what you thought about this book. Another way, you can thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely up to you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Alright then, bye!